gentlemen, it is 5:30 and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will note that all council members are present. Tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend our meetings by watching us on burnsvillemn.gov/meetings or on Comcast channel 16 or 859. The public can also participate through Zoom by joining us at zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meetings webpage and in the council agenda packet. Tonight we have our announcements about all of our upcoming meetings, and then we also have some introductions that's going to be made. And I'm excited for us to have that, and also to have the community understand what we're doing. So our upcoming meetings are scheduled, the regular council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 20th at 5:30 p.m. and Monday, March 4th at 5:30 p.m. Why Monday? It's because of the presidential primary, and we're not allowed to have meetings during an election. So that's on a Tuesday, the 5th of March, and Monday is going to be the council meeting, and that's at 5:30. We have a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, February 13th at 5:30 p.m., and we have a special work session that's scheduled for this evening at 6:30 p.m. with our legislators to go over our legislative agenda. And our legislative agenda has been before the community, I believe, 3 times, twice at a work session, and then at a council meeting for adoption on a consent agenda. So, and this evening, I am proud to present to you our behavioral health unit. And Deputy Chief, are you making the presentation, or are you going to go to Sergeant Max?
Well, I think we can, let's all come up.
And talk a little bit more, you know, you actually gotta let the community know what we're doing.
Well, Madam Mayor, members of council, we did want to bring our behavioral health unit up here and introduce you to, I think you all know Sergeant Yaglov and Officer Houston couldn't be here tonight, but also our Dakota County Social Services partners, Leanne and Randy. They are working right out of our office downstairs with Sergeant Yaglov and Officer Houston. They're doing response to in-progress calls, as well as responding a few days afterwards and in the coming weeks with follow-up with people that they're giving services to. I remember it was probably 7 or 8 years ago, I think we decided, when this idea was first launched with Dakota County, and we actually had an online meeting with a police department in like London before Zoom was a thing and video conferencing. So it is really exciting to be here today and have our social workers working right alongside with us. So welcome, Leanne and Randy. I know you've been here for a while, but it's nice to be able to get you in front of the mayor and council. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Sergeant?
That sums it up, Mayor.
Sergeant, when I read the city manager's weekly and all the calls that you all are going out to, your call response have increased every year since we started the behavioral health unit, correct?
That's correct.
But now, what you have is that we have help. And you want to talk about what our social workers are doing with you with regard to our external work with the community. When we get a call,
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that.
yes,
So
please do,
they-
come
they
forward,
have
and yeah,
to-
so I hope that everybody can see you all, yeah.
I'll step up to the
Yeah.
So Leanne is our partner in crime, if you will. She responds to calls with us, in progress calls. Really what that means for folks in the room and our community, when you do call 911 and you're looking for mental health crisis type response, she's actually in the car with us going to calls. So sometimes we take primary, meaning that we take kind of the first call to action as an officer, because maybe it's not safe, maybe we want to make sure things are safe. But sometimes she actually becomes our kind of in charge person. A good example is even today. She was working with a person in our city that needed her help. She actually took the lead, and we were just there making sure that everybody was safe, including the person in crisis. And we ended up taking them to the hospital, and things worked out okay. Randy, on the other hand, she is new
Which,
to us.
Randy and Leanne, come so that people can see, so you're Randy?
Yes.
Yes, and Leanne is, yes, so people know who you are, yes.
So yeah, Randy, she started with us early, like late last year, early this year. So her job is she basically follows up after the fact, right? Again, what we want people to know is that when you call us, we get you the help you need initially. And after the fact, about 2 to 3 days later, we end up following up, make sure that you're staying on the right path and you
Yep.
have what you need. And we often found out that if we don't intervene then, folks kind of come off their path, and it becomes more of a problem for emergency services as well. So her job is to make sure that they're stable. The one thing we do want people to know is that she stabilizes people in our community versus taking them to the hospital, creating more bills and stress. So she works with them one-on-one, anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks at a time, and then we do what we call a soft handoff to more of a kind of a long-term process. She also helps with kind of our education side of things with our community members. And again, the biggest thing is that she works with people in the community. We don't take them out of our community, and we try to stabilize as best as we can while we're still here.
Wonderful, what people need to know is that the follow-up is like your short-term mental health process. And then you get them involved with long-term care.
Ideally, yes.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's what's so different about what we're doing here, is we address the initial call, and then we have the follow-up, and you're working with them for 6, 8 weeks at the same time you're trying to get them into the resources for long-term care.
Yeah, that's our goal, right, as much as we can. So a lot of the services that we provide is on voluntary basis, right, and we do have a continuum of care. So people have to be willing to work and help themselves, and we just need to support them as best as we can.
The other thing that you all are doing that I think is so different from anybody else is that you're also working very closely with our paramedics, our fire paramedics. So they address the medication issue, and so people are taken care of immediately, and at the same time, there's some long-term care that's taking place.
Yeah, absolutely, and Randy and Leanne both been helping our fire side, our partners, in trying to address some of the issues on their end too, some of the frequent flyers, with callers, because oftentimes it's a little bit of both, a little bit of medication, a little bit of mental health issues, so we're trying to kind of have a, team approach, if you will, to this whole thing.
And then in the future, you're going to have another 2 members of the team that you're going to bring before us?
Yeah.
Yes, and introduce them to the community?
Yeah, it's
Okay, we
coming
won't
soon.
give it away.
Yeah, just a couple more months, we'll be ready for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful that we have this kind of service for the members of our community, and that we're doing it in a different way. And we're responding differently with care and compassion, and making sure that they're stable throughout, while at the same time you're helping to get them the resources, the long-term resources that they need. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. So Chief, thank you so much for all the work that you, Chief, did we institute behavioral health care in, come to the front, in You know I was going to get
Oh,
you
I
in the
know, I
front.
was,
Trying to sneak out really quick, right?
You instituted the behavioral health care, and you used your existing budget to put it all together, and that was that 2018, 2019?
2021 actually is when we started, Sergeant Yakovlev really started getting into it a little bit, so.
Okay, 2021. But because when you came and reported, you also had our crime analyst because you were keeping data.
Yes, we had a data analyst that
Yeah.
was helping us kind of track, just increased calls for service, so we knew that those were doubling and tripling as time had gone on, and so we had to look at how do we respond differently to the crises that are going on in the community, how do we get the people the right services at the right time, and so that kind of born into, we have to do it different, and we have to do it in a way that's gonna meet the needs of our community. And, Sergeant Max really is the one that championed this effort and
Yeah.
really said, let's look at this different, let's look at our calls, and let's make sure that we're doing those things that are really gonna help our community.
Well, thank you for your leadership and for the team that you have. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. The next item is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda for tonight and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Mrs. Collins, anyone online?
No one online, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. City Manager Lindberg, is there any emergency items?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the council. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda is considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item on the consent agenda will be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on the consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Mrs. Collins, anyone online?
No one, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Members of the council? Okay. City Manager Lindberg, you want to pull anything?
Not from staff, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. The next item is an item from our regular agenda, and this is a public hearing. This is a resolution ordering the improvements for plans and specifications and ordering the advertisements for bids for the 2024 street improvement project. And presenting this evening is our city engineer, Mr. Vlasity.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much. Bethany just stepped out. We have some IT updates here. Presentation.
Are we waiting for someone online?
Sorry, the presentation is not on the computer
Is it-
at the moment.
Oh, so the control room is working. For those of you who are watching us online. We're just waiting to make sure that we have. Mr. Velocity, while we're working on trying to get your presentation up,
Yes.
I'm going to pause your presentation and I'm going to go to the economic development meeting
That sounds great. Thank you.
while they're working on theirs.
Let's do that.
Okay, thank you. I will now recess the Burnsville City Council meeting so the economic development meeting can proceed. President Gustafson.
I must have been the understudy for that one. Good evening. I call the Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Are there any additions to the final agenda? Seeing none, I will move on to the item number 2, which is our consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes and the extension of the agreement with the Center for Energy and Environment for the Home Energy Squad program. Is there anyone wishing an item to be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote? Nobody? Seeing none, I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Schultz, second by Commissioner Keeley. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes. There are no other items on our agenda, so I need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Keeley, second by Commissioner Workman. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion passes. I pass the meeting back to you, Madam Mayor, and I hope our technical difficulties have been taken care of.
It is. And
Your lucky
yes,
day.
right on time. And I now reconvene the Burnsville City Council meeting. Mr. Velocity, the floor is yours, and I see that your presentation is up.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, what I have for you is the 2024 Street Improvement Public Hearing. So we've got our 5 project areas listed there. They're Walden, Nordic, Gateway, Morgan Avenue, Oakleaf, and the Landings. So this is an overall view of our city's pavement condition. So every 3 years, we have a third-party service that provides pavement condition index scores. And that's kind of our starting point for prioritizing what streets go into that year's street improvement program. So green is very good, then we've got some blue, which is good, orange is getting moderate, and we need to start thinking about when we're gonna address those streets. And the red streets would be our critical condition streets. And here circled are the 5 project areas for 2024. So there's some logical grouping of street segments based on location as well. So it's not purely the worst condition streets. We try to group things together so that we don't have kind of a hodgepodge of various age streets throughout the city. So, based on pavement condition, we have a few different construction methods, and then with that, we also assess the water main. So we look at the integrity of we do some integrity testing on the water main. We look at water main break history, the material type, etc. We do some complete streets and multimodal evaluations on any of our proposed project areas, do a signal review, look at potential sidewalk repairs to meet some ADA standards, and then based on all of that information, we can determine what the proposed construction method is. So this year we get all 3 in the project areas. So those are reconstruction, reclamation, and rehabilitation. Reconstruction is our full curb replacement project with water main replacement. Reclamation is a full pavement section replacement. And then rehabilitation is just that top layer of pavement that's being replaced. So here's a look at our 5 project areas, like I noted. The red areas are our 3 reclamation areas. The purple is our full reconstruction area. That includes water main replacement. And then the green area, our gateway area, is just a rehabilitation. So that's kind of in more of our commercial area, multifamily area. Here's a look at everything we did in 2023 for this project. So we started last February. We ordered the feasibility report. Going into the spring, we started to define the scope, look at what streets made sense, evaluate some of those things I mentioned in previous slides. Sent out postcards to the neighborhoods to let them know that staff would be in the area, you might see soil borings, etc. And then that data collection and analysis piece that we did over the summer. Then as we're refining our scope, towards the end of last summer, we had a better idea of what we were going to propose to do. So we had open houses and invited any affected property owners to those open houses. That would have been in October for 2023. And then we also provided them with a preliminary estimate of the assessment amounts with those open house invitations. So we had the open houses in October. Then in the December 5th council meeting, City Council received the preliminary report and ordered the improvement hearing, which is where we are tonight. So in January, we mailed out the improvement hearing notices to all the affected properties. After this meeting, should the project be ordered, we would finalize plans and go into bidding in March, which would tentatively put us around an April 2nd City Council meeting to award a bid and order the assessment hearing. So should that be the case, the assessment hearing notices would go out and we would tentatively plan to have that assessment hearing on May 7th. Following that, we would have our pre-construction open houses, so we would send out letters again to the affected properties, inviting them to a pre-construction meeting with the contractor and a better idea of schedule and specific impacts to their properties and things of that nature. Then approximately May through October, we're looking at construction, and after construction is kind of wrapped up, we send out our post-construction survey and postcard and a reminder of the due date for the property's assessments. In addition to the street improvement pieces that you saw here today, this is the 126th Street Trail segment. This was previously ordered with a separate project, and if feasible and within the existing park dedication budget, we would propose to construct this trail in the same contract that would be doing the Gateway area rehabilitation. They're immediately adjacent to each other, but this is not part of the improvement hearing. It is just a note of the proposed 126th Street Trail. So this is between Pleasant and Pillsbury there in heart of the city area. We're currently working on easements for that trail with the real life cooperative property. So once those are ready, we would bring those back to council at a future meeting. So our funding, we have our taxes, which are available via the Infrastructure Trust Fund, and we also have our special assessments, and then our 4 utility funds. So those are water, sanitary, sewer, storm, and street lighting. And then our other sources is just for that trail that I showed on the last slide, which is park dedication funding. This is a overview of our special assessment methodology. So for the city of Burnsville, we assess 40% of the street costs, not to exceed, so up to 40%. Single family properties are assessed on a per unit basis. The front footage is not a calculation for that. So if 2 neighboring properties are slightly different lot sizes, they still have the same assessment rate, assuming that they're both single family properties. We don't assess for utility work or at least 60% of the street work or any other associated improvements that we're doing in conjunction with the street improvements.
So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that they're paying 40% of the assessment, and 60% is paid by all of the other people
Exactly.
and businesses in the city of Burnsville.
Madam Mayor, that is exactly correct, yes. Thank you. So here's a look at our 2024 assessment rates. So for that reconstruction, the full water main replacement project, we're looking at around $5,000 per single family home, and then around $2,000 per single family home for our reclamation areas. And then our rehabilitation areas don't have any single family homes, so we just use that per foot rate, which is used for commercial and multifamily properties. again, these assessment rates will be finalized after bidding and brought to the assessment hearing meeting, which would be sometime in late April or early May. So with those assessments, they can be prepaid in full by November 15th of this year, or repaid over a predetermined length of time based on the amount of the assessment. So it's either a prepay in full, or it gets deferred onto property taxes, and that does include an interest rate of 5.5%. And again, that date is the one that we send those postcard reminders of once construction is wrapping up. Just another reminder for folks if they want to prepay those. And then here's a look at some of our neighboring communities from 2023 projects. So we've got some communities that don't assess. There's Burnsville right around $2,500. Coon Rapids is the only one of the assessing cities that's lower. And then quite a few cities that are a higher assessment per single family home. This is our overall estimated costs of the 2024 street improvements. So we're at $8,744,000, and then we have the cost breakdown there. So we've estimating $1,314,000 of special assessment, $3,141,000 via the infrastructure trust fund. The $506,000 of park dedication is proposed for that 126th Street Trail. $613,000 for the storm utility fund, and then $3,170,000 for the water and sewer utility fund. So the 2024 project is a large water main replacement in that Walden Nordic area. So we see some higher numbers there for the water and sewer utility fund. And then just an overall snippet of the project, we estimate around 15% of the total costs are being funded by special assessments. So as we proceed with projects, we have our web pages, we have our dedicated construction email, and then our dedicated assessment email. This information goes out to the residents with any letters and postcards that we provide them, and we ask them to subscribe for updates that we utilize once construction starts. Notify us if they have any questions or want to report issues that they may have noticed. So we have our various methods of reaching out to the community and using our dedicated burnsvillemn.gov/roadwork website. So tonight, I'll stand for questions for the public hearing, and then the recommended action is to adopt a resolution ordering the improvements, approve plans and specifications, and order advertisement of bids for the 2024 street improvement projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blasity. Council, any questions?
Could you tell me what the increase was this year as far as inflation and how that affected the street cost?
Sure. So from 23 to 24 was more of a normal year of inflation. 22 to 23 was a big increase in inflation for construction costs. Obviously, inflation still exists and probably is more than a normal year if you want to go back to when things were normal. But 23 to 24, we're not seeing any increases like we did in the 22 to 23 season.
Do you have a number on that at all, the percentage-wise?
We're thinking it's trending along the national average in the 5 to 7%. Yeah.
Because we haven't gotten the bids yet, we're just ordering projects
No,
so
I
that
know
they
that.
can do all of that. Yeah, Council,
I'm just looking at these numbers and go, I've been doing this a long time and these numbers keep kind of going up.
yeah. And they always have a 3-year look back, and then you kind of looking, but the thing is, it's until we get the bids is when we understand what that increase is going to be. Yeah.
That is correct, yeah.
Councilmember Workman.
Thank you. Logan, can you go back to that map that you had almost right away?
This one or keep going?
Keep going.
Pavement?
This one. So I've noticed there's other roads on here with red and yellow. Is that kind of the
Yes.
future-facing map we have now about projects to come?
It's not that simple, unfortunately. This map doesn't live on the website Currently, this is just a data representation map of pavement conditions, so there's other factors that go into when things get placed on the CIP
Okay.
for our future streets.
My street is red, so I kinda,
Uh-oh.
that's what drew my attention to it.
Because you also have to evaluate under the ground.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, we need to make sure we have,
And you're just looking at the surface.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just hadn't seen this particular document before, so I was looking for that, but thank you.
City Manager Lindberg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Councilmember Workman, Council, to your question, it's a great question. Actually, there's two capital improvement studies. As you all know, we're working on a total currently of 6 capital improvement studies that will be presented to the council and the community over the next 18 months. The pavement management program, so this particular chart, Councilmember Workman, that you're asking questions about, I actually don't believe the city council has seen this in the past. So that was one immediate improvement that we wanted to make, that Logan has made in this presentation. Beyond that, sometime over the course of the next year, the council and community will have a comprehensive report out on our new pavement management program that largely will be driven by visual data that looks like this in an updated format. So at that point in time, we can kind of talk about process and conditions. We're also overlaying that with a longer-term study on our vertical infrastructure, so everything that's below the ground that we can't see. So staff will be presenting the results of those to the council as we talk about informing our next iteration of our capital budgets as part of the budget process.
Very good. I like that, simply because I think when we're looking at a capital improvement plan and a pavement management plan, we really need to understand what our pavement management plan. So this is a good first step going through that, but that's only looking at the what's on the surface. Then there's all the stuff underneath the ground that,
And I would add to that, that if we have some type of future focused schedule of road projects to come, it would give the public an opportunity to see that and maybe start saving or preparing for that ahead of time.
City Manager Lindberg.
Councilmember Workman, Mayor, Council, that's another great point. And part of our intention, Logan walked through kind of the 2-year cycle of our process. It's important to us that we reach and connect with the community in meaningful ways about these projects coming up, because we know they impact the neighborhoods that we're in. So that will help inform an expansion of our engagement and communication efforts in that regard, as we can plan better for the future.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to these items that were presented this evening? Anyone who wishes to speak to them? Yes, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Brad Anderson, 12205 Parkwood Place. And the only question I have, I know that our engineering department has done a really good job in the past in other areas of the city, but how would we handle, let's say for my specific property, if additional curb damage was incurred between the letting of bids now and the actual work that's done? If there's additional damage due to, I don't know, potential spring freeze and thaw, or something that was unanticipated or unspecified in the individual, in the bid right now.
Mr. Velocity.
Sure. So Parkwood Place, you're directly adjacent to the full reconstruction project area. So I don't know if are you talking about potentially the curb along in the project area, or are you talking about a stretch
I'm
of curb
talking
that's
about,
maybe?
yeah, the specific curb that would be in front of my property,
Okay.
or speaking on behalf of other residential
Parkwood
homes
Place.
in the property.
On Parkwood Place?
Parkwood Place, yeah.
Okay. So all of the curb is getting replaced within the project areas.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be an issue if
Okay.
if curb was damaged in the next coming months, right? So
Right, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if there was just specific sections that were damaged, or if it was the entire amount of curbs in our area, so.
Parkwood Place is in the full reconstruction, and if there were damaged curbs in the non-reconstruction areas, so the areas that we just do spot replacement, those segments of curb would get replaced as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? With that, I will close the public hearing. Members of the council, Your pleasure. Staff is requesting that we adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. And we look forward to the future.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor,
And
members of the
we'll wait to
council.
see your bids.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Velocity. Okay, members of the council, there are no other items to come before the body this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you very much for being with us, and have a good evening.